Scooch back for another video. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's absolutely beautiful here in Massachusetts. I'm thrilled. We're finally getting some decent weather around here. Today I kind of want to talk about a car that I had before I had the STI and the Del Sol. So about 3 years ago now, or it would be 6 years ago now. 3 years ago I had the car. 6 years ago I actually bought it. I was looking for something new, something that was a little more fun. I had recently got rid of the WRX that you had heard about in a previous video, and I was driving around in like a 2001 or 2002 Accord. And you know, the car was a very nice car, but I wanted something that was more fun. So I was looking on the market, seeing what was out there. I couldn't afford a WRX at the time, so I had to put that on hold, but I did need a new car. The Honda was starting to fall apart. And I looked into Civic SIs. I had been working at Honda before that, and I thought, oh, this will actually be a great car. It's quick, you know, and it would hold all my friends. It would be a fun little car. I'm like, this would be good. I could put all my snowboard gear in the back, everything like that. And then I started poking around the interwebs a little bit more, and I came across a car that had been released very recently, and that was the FRS and the BRZ. So, or 86, and if you're in somewhere other than the US, a lot of countries call them the 86s. So, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I could get one of those, rear-wheel drive, which is, as we all know, much more fun than front-wheel drive, about the same horsepower, and, you know, decent on gas. It was just, you know, a flat four that Subaru had started making, and, you know, it was a new FA series that they had come out with, and I thought, this actually could be a fun little car. So I went down, I test drove one, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I was like, this is incredible. And anybody out there who's driven one of these, you know that they're very well balanced. You know, they're not the quickest things out there, but they're very well balanced. They handle really well, and they are a blast to drive, and they're very easy to slide around. So I was very attracted to everything that this car had to offer. Plus, they look really good. And so I decided to pick one up. I found out that I could fit all my snowboard gear in the back with the seats folded down, so I decided to pick one up. And I wanted to go over 5 reasons why I missed this car. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I miss about this car is the handling on it. Now that has a lot to do with the fact that it is a flat 4, so it has a lower center of gravity, which helps it in the corners. And the car does have a nearly 50-50 perfect weight distribution. So when they say that it's the best handling car you can get under 30 grand, that's not an exaggeration. It truly is an absolutely incredible handling car. And you can throw it into an off-ramp, you can throw it into any corner you want, and it will typically take it pretty well without really breaking the tires loose. And it only comes on 225. I believe they weren't Michelin's. I think they were Pirellis that it actually came on. And they're not very wide, and they're actually Prius tires. So Priuses come with the 225s. Obviously, Priuses don't come with 17-inch wheels, but the size of the tire, everything else about it is a Prius tire. So it's kind of a common joke in the 86 community that it comes with Prius tires, but just a little tidbit of fact of information for you there. The second thing I miss about this car is the seating position. So the way it's set up is it's really set up for the driver. It is a very driver's car in the sense that the bolstering on the seats is fantastic. It holds you in the seats really well. The shifter is right at basically at the bottom of your elbow. So like with this car, it's a little lower. With some other cars, it's a little higher. This one is the way you're sitting in the car, if that makes sense. I'll explain this in a second. Everything is at the perfect height. So with this car in particular, if you've driven things like an STI, you'll notice that you kind of sit more on top of the car. If you've driven SUVs, you feel like you're sitting on top of the car. With coupes and things like that of the FRS, Corvettes, Miatas, things like that, you feel like you're sitting more in the car. And it's kind of a tough thing to explain unless you've noticed it yourself, but it really does make a big difference. The hood line is very easy to see over. The blind spots aren't that bad, especially with the way the seats are set up. So it is very good for that, and it's like I said, it's a true driver's car. It's built around the driver. Third thing I miss about that car is the gearbox. So obviously the gearbox in this car is phenomenal, but that was actually a very good 6-speed. I had really good luck with it. It's very notchy. The throws are extremely short for a factory shifter, and that's really the most I can say about it, is the fact that it's a really great car to drive in the sense that it has a great shift feel to it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Fourth thing, now a lot of people will agree with me if they've done oil changes on them, but the oil changes on this car is something that I miss. The filter is right on the top of the engine, as with all the new FA models, but I love having that. It made everything so much easier. You weren't trying to weave around, you know, different components underneath the car while you're on the ground in the driveway, trying to get the filter off. You could just unscrew it from the top. It's a little quirky, you know, it's not a huge, not a selling point on a car, but it really was pretty nice going, you know, having that, going from all those other cars I was doing them on to something that was just so easy to get to. Because I mean, I'm doing my oil changes every 3,000 miles. That's how I do them. So it was nice to have that ease when you're working on it. Anything that's easier when you're working on a car is always better, in my opinion. Fifth thing, and the biggest reason I bought that car in the first place, is that I missed the rear-wheel drive. There wasn't a day that went by that that car didn't get slid around. That clutch was dumped 7 days a week. That's just how it was. I loved driving that car. And the clutch surprisingly held up extremely well. I don't know what happened to the next owner that got it, but I put close to 50,000 miles in the time that I had it. In 3 years. That's a lot of clutch dumps. That's a lot of burnt clutch. And it took it. It loved it. It never gave me an issue. That car never gave me an issue at all. And just having that ease of sliding was just so much fun. You know, you could find an open parking lot, do a couple laps around a pole, or, you know, you could just an open area, something like that. It was a lot of fun. You know, I enjoyed driving that car in the snow, and there was nobody on the road. You could slide a little bit. It just was a lot of fun to drive. And it took me a little while, but by the end of it, I actually finally got clutch kicks down, which was a big thing for me. I enjoyed that. And because it's not easy to kind of get used to the fact where when you throw the clutch in and you got the RPMs all the way up and you dump it back out quick, the car does kick. And it's a different kind of feeling. When you e-brake into a corner and you start to slide and the car kicks out, you can feel how much the car is sliding as the e-brake is being pulled, because you're adjusting the angle of the car with the steering wheel. If you just want to pull the e-brake and just go straight, you can pretty much do that. But when you turn the wheel, you're adjusting the angle of how far the car is coming out in the back. The clutch kick, put your foot to the floor, throw the clutch in, and you offset the balance of the car by jerking the wheel to the side that you're going to take the turn for. So if you're going to go left, turn it left, and then you cut the wheel back when this car starts to kick around. Now the thing with that is that the car kicks so quickly, you're not always prepared for it until you get used to it. So it takes a little bit of practice to get it down the first time, obviously. But when you do, it's one of the most satisfying things out there, because to anybody that's watching, it doesn't look very difficult, because all you did was throw the clutch in, rev the RPMs up, and it goes sideways. It's great. But when you know what you're doing, and you know what somebody else is doing to get that to happen, there's a little bit of satisfaction in the sense that you're able to do it, because again, it does take a little bit more practice. It's not just like hitting the gas and going around doing donuts in the snow. It takes practice, and it's just a very satisfying feeling when you get that right. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. Let me know if there's a car that you miss. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who's had a plethora of vehicles, so if there's a car out there that you missed, let me know what it is. I'm curious what it was, and I know I'll definitely buy an FRS in the future. There's no doubt in my mind. I want another one day. I probably would like to supercharge one, or even just leave it stock, quite honestly. They're a blast out of the box. So I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video. Scooch out.